Mercy Me is coming to Pittsburgh, the Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Ripp, Thursday, October 5th. Bring your family and friends to the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp live in concert. 3 multiple award-winning artists on one stage for one night. Let your spirit soar, your heart sing, and your faith ignite. Mark your calendars for Thursday, October 5th. Get your tickets now at mercyme.org.
Hey y'all, I'm Christy Wright, and you're listening to the Business Boutique Podcast. Today's another special episode as we continue the series, Hope in the Chaos, 10 Truths to Get You Through. Now, recently, I went live on Instagram and interviewed my friends. We just had a conversation about what anchors us in a storm. And let's be honest, y'all, this is a storm. We had some amazing conversations, and they were so amazing, in fact, that I decided to share them with you here. Today, we are sharing with you day 5, where I got to hang out with my good friend, Rachel Hollis. Rachel talked about the habits in our life that can help us feel anchored, specifically moving our body every single day. Rachel is such an awesome inspiration for so many people, and I loved our conversation and how it applies to you even right now in the crazy. Check this out. Hey everyone, welcome to day 5 of Hope in the Chaos. I'm so excited to get to hang out with you guys and just continue to share hope, spread hope, find hope, look for hopeful things amidst the chaos. The news may be changing. Your business may be changing, your world and family life and home may be changing, but there is still hope out there. And I'm so excited to get to hang out with you guys and continue to talk about this. This has been such a joy for me. This has been so fun to have this time that I can depend on to show up, hang out with y'all, talk about hopeful things. You guys have shared such great things of things that you're thankful for, areas of gratitude. And that's how I love to start. So feel free to go ahead and start putting in the comments. Tell me something good. Tell me something you're excited about. Tell me something that you're thankful for. One of the things that I mentioned yesterday that, has just been kind of a word I sat with the last kind of 24 hours is this idea of noticing. On Friday, it was embrace, like embracing the situation we're in and making the best of it. Yesterday was noticing. I just notice more things when I'm not in a rush. But one of the words that's been on my mind today, because I love to kind of give you guys a word of the day of something I'm thinking through and working through to encourage you to not only think of your own words, but, you can borrow mine. Let that inspire you. So often people, have things that are their things, but then I'm like, oh, I'm going to make that my thing. So one of the things that just came to mind today, and it feels very obvious, but I want to share it anyway because it's still true. And that is prayer. So I was on a call, about, 2 hours ago or so. And we were just really struggling. My leader, Tyler, and I were just struggling with what to do with the plans we made, the projects we had slated, all the timelines and deadlines and things we were running towards of what do we do now? Do they still make sense? Or is there an adapted version between what was true and what is still true today? Do we abandon it entirely? There's a lot of people that it affects. And so we're on this Microsoft Teams call. That's what we use. And we're sitting on this call and we're just well, we need to kind of tell the team what we want to do. What do we want to do? And I said, Tyler, can we just stop and pray? I know that feels obvious and feels like what you're supposed to do, but I don't always do that. I usually start getting scrappy and just kind of tackling my to-do list. I was like, let's just stop and pray because I don't know what to do. And let's just stop and ask God what we're supposed to do. And so I just want to encourage you guys that if you're feeling at a crossroads right now in your life or your business and you're feeling stuck or maybe even paralyzed with all the options, you've got so many options of how to navigate this new territory. I just want to encourage you to take a moment to pause, to ask God what he wants you to do because he has the best ideas. And when we run out of ideas, he has more ideas. And so, that's just kind of my word for you today to think about, regardless of where your business is or where your life is, to take a minute to stop and pause, even if you're on a work call, even if you're, having a conversation with someone that you've never talked about your faith. That's something where you can still be like, hey, you know what? Can we just pause a second? And I think it'll probably reset your spirit. All right, y'all. I'm so excited because y'all know I have been having friends join me every single day. And I know y'all are going to lose your minds over who we have today, but I'm so thankful because I'm friends Hollis, and she has agreed to be on today. She responded to my text and was like, yeah, I'll totally do it. And I'm so grateful. So yes, there she is.
You look so much better than I do
Sister,
right now.
oh my gosh. How you doing?
I'm good. I mean, I've been putting in a valiant effort every single day to get up, take a shower, put on makeup, act like I'm going to the office, even though we're working virtually. Yeah. But today was one of those days where I hit the ground running and I don't know what is, there's a lot going on. I smell, this is real right now. It's a
situation. So yesterday I've been doing these lives every day. Yesterday I went live, like greasy hair, tank top, whatever. And Stephanie Mae Wilson was my buddy that dropped there, and she looks so beautiful. I'm talking, so today I'm like,
today, yes.
Like every day it's hit or miss. It's like some days
real.
you're motivated, some days it's going to be pajama pants.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Our team is doing all of these things to make sure that we maintain culture, even though we're working virtually. And once a week we have an outfit of the day, and today's outfit of the day was animal print.
Love it.
So everyone on staff today, even though we're virtual, we're all wearing animal print. So I look crazy, but that's
animal print is very on trend right now. So you're
we're in it. We're right in it.
From home, regardless. Okay, so Rachel, I love starting these by telling people, just tell me something good, because there's so much bad news. I'm like, tell me something good. So they've been posting in the comments. Your thing right now, but really always, is choose joy. Choose joy. Absolutely. So tell me, what's your joy today? What's your good thing?
So this is a good one. This is like, for any entrepreneurs who are watching, this was a huge deal for us. We had a big spring sale as a company, and the why behind that was very intentional. We know, like any business owners watching, that cash flow is going to matter more than ever right now. And so we made the decision to do a big sale to sort of hopefully drum up. And coming into that, which started yesterday, so it was 24 hours. But coming into that, I honestly, I had faith, but I also had anxiety about what this means. I have 60 employees, and even though we are very liquid and cash, and we're very Ramsey organization in that we don't do things on debt or credit, it still is scary because it's unknown. So we had our sale yesterday, and our community, I just cried all day yesterday. Our community showed up so big. They were so incredible. They shopped, some people shopped big things. Some people bought a $2 sticker, but it was just such, we have always been taking care of this community. And that is my joy today, is like, thank you, God. We are all better together than we are apart. And we are in business for this community, and they continue to make sure that we stay in business. So that was a big deal.
I think it's so cool, especially for my people, to hear you say that, because I did kind of an impromptu coaching session yesterday with my academy members. It's like your coaching group. And I was talking to them. I said, you all may think because you're a small business or a side business that bigger businesses, more famous businesses, are exempt from this hard time. And I was like, they're not. I was like, the numbers may be different, but the payroll is higher. The expenses are higher. It's relative. So like all the conversations you're having of like, what are we going to do? Get scrappy, are happening at every level. Dave Ramsey's organization, we've got our exec committee meeting going, what are we going to do? Every live event has been canceled. I know you're feeling that too. And so I think it's a good reminder that no one's having this easy right now. No one, you know what I mean? No one's exempt from these hard times.
Yes.
And I love the idea of, and you're really big on this, Rachel, you're so good at building this, is this idea of community, because business can feel lonely, but now when we're at home, it can feel even lonelier.
Yeah.
And so just intentionally taking care of your own community, your customers, and so on. But seeking that with other business owners, seeking that with other people, so it doesn't have to feel like that.
Yeah. And I think, I have my core group of entrepreneur friends, different people that I get to talk to. And I think that that's so important right now, more than ever, especially people who are at a similar level. I got a text from a friend who was like, I can say this to very few people, but my monthly overhead is X, and it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And that is the same for me. My overhead is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And she's like, it's not something that other people understand. Right. Because if I said that to my mom or my sister, they'd be like, how could you spend that much on a company? But when you have this many employees, right? So having someone who can understand where you're at, and if you don't have that in a friend that you can call, is there a group that you can take part of? Can you look on Facebook or LinkedIn? Can you find a community of other entrepreneurs who will understand and kind of band with you right now? Because the resources are out there, the answers are out there, and you need to be arming yourself with as much information as you possibly can in the season. The thing that entrepreneurs and business leaders cannot do right now is wait and see. You can't put your head in the sand and hope that it'll be okay.
It's magically going to fix itself.
No, you have, I told my team, we have to act as if. Yes, we have cash flow. Yes, we have reserves, but we have to act as if we don't. Because I've taken a company through recession before. And so I know that those kind of things dry up quickly, and you have to be mindful of like, okay, what can we do right now? How can we pivot and pivot quickly? Because, you know, we're both doing live events, and I hope to God that we'll be back doing those this year, but I don't know. And if we count on that, and I want to be really clear, I don't approach these things from a place of fear. I'm a person of faith. I am brave. I am confident in myself. I have an incredible team. I believe that everything, you know, Marie Forleo wrote a book, everything's figure outable. I believe that, right? But at the same time, we got to be proactive here. We can't be reactive. And so arm yourself with information and make some decisions to help you get to where you're going to need to be.
Yeah. Yesterday I put a picture up of me, this home office from like a different angle with my phone propped up with a rubber band. I was like, you know what I'm doing? I was like, I'm just trying stuff. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm trying. And I think so often it can be easy. Like I love that perspective from the business angle, because I think people can either sit around and wait for it to just get better, or they make the mistake of sitting around somehow waiting for permission. Like, was this okay? Is this right? And it's like, nobody knows. Nobody knows. I keep saying this 1,000 times. There's no playbook for this. You just got to try some stuff. Just try anything, even if it's imperfect, even if you're unsure, it doesn't matter. We're all just trying some stuff. Like this Hope in the Chaos series, where I just texted you on a random night. I was like, hey, will you go live with me? I just want to show up for people. Is something that you're just trying to cultivate your community, be there for people, because you know they're hurting, and you know we're all in it together. One of the things that you're really big on, Rachel, and I actually have been on this kick a little bit more, I guess, intentionally recently, is this idea of journaling. So for this series, this Hope in the Chaos that I've totally made up, by the way, of like everything going live.
I love it.
I'm sending out journal questions afterwards, and I wait until I have the conversation with you, for example, today, and then I'll write the journal questions and I email them out. But I think I've noticed in my own life, and even with people I'm coaching, it helps them internalize what they're learning more. Like when I write things down in my journal, I write things down that were thoughts I didn't consciously think. I didn't even know they were in there. And so I've been trying to do that, which, by the way, for my people watching, it's businessboutique.com/hope to get the journal questions. Make sure you're getting them. But Rachel, you do this with your Start Today journal. You've been doing journaling for a while. So like, talk a little bit about this idea of journaling and why it's so important, because you're big on it. You've been big on it forever. I'm big on it. Like, it's amazing in a time like this, how healing and how important that can be.
Yeah. So two things that are really interesting about the journal. So just because I'm talking to someone from Ramsey, I have to tell this story.
Oh, I'm ready.
I actually, so I have a product called Start Today Journal, and we've had it for a couple of years now, and it is an incredibly successful line of revenue for us. And it was part of something that I heard Chris Hogan say at Entree Leadership Summit years ago. So he talked about this idea of how he writes down all of his goals, and he would say, like, I have them in the closet and I would like put them in the car. And I thought, oh, I need to do that. I need to be more mindful about writing down my goals. And then I just kept adjusting the process. And then I created my own little thing. But so much of it was prompted by Chris Hogan. I never envisioned a future where like I would know Chris and I would get to talk to him or whatever. And he spoke at our event last fall, and I was like, I just want you to know, like, this was something that you said that turned it and became this product that is worth this much money to us. And like, you never know the work that you're going to do, the journal prompts, the hope and the chaos, the whatever. You never know that the thing that you're going to say is going to plant a seed in someone else's life that turns into a whole field of crops, right? So who knows what's going to come out of the season, but the idea of journaling. So sorry, I got side.
No, I love that. Like, I think you get to tell Chris that. Like,
but he was like, "What?"
I bet he's like, "You need to send me a check, girl."
He did. He was like, I was like, "I'll send you a journal." But so the two kinds of journaling I do, Start Today Journal is a daily prompt. So it's 5 things that I'm grateful for. And those 5 things, I'm going to tell you guys, you don't have to buy a journal. You can totally do this in whatever notebook you have. 5 things that you're grateful for, which is especially powerful right now. And those 5 things should be something that happened within the last 24 hours. Because the idea is that I want you to spend an entire 24-hour period looking for gratitude and looking for blessings.
I love that.
So, and I always tell people, don't write down big things. Don't say like, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my marriage. I want you to look for little tiny moments of joy. You know, your husband brought you a cup of coffee, or you saw a beautiful sunset. Your kid told you a joke that was so dumb, but they're 6, so you laughed.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things changes your whole perspective. So a gratitude practice, and then goal setting. So from my gratitude practice is when I lay down the 10 goals that I have for my future. So that's one thing. That's sort of more structured journaling. Yeah. And the one that might be really powerful for y'all right now is I have a spiral bound notebook. I have a bunch of them all over my house. And I do journaling where I will set a time. So I'll say, I'm going to take 30 minutes. Sometimes I've said, I'm going to take an hour. And I'm not allowed to leave these pages until that time is up. And I just write whatever is in my brain. Because here's what's going to happen. We're all going to write. And we're going to spend about 8 minutes and we're going to write. And we're like, that's all I got. And then if you just sit there, because you've given yourself a time limit, you just sit and you sit and you sit and you think on it, you'll start writing again. And I found that so much clarity in my life has come from time journaling, where I don't let myself, and I just sort of keep unpacking on, well, what did that mean? Well, why? Well, how could I do this better? And it's like a therapy session in my journal. And those have helped me tremendously. I know no one's flying right now, but I usually do them on a plane, because on an airplane, you're not distracted. No one's around you. But if you can find time right now somewhere in your house where you can just set a time limit and kind of like dig into what's going on. How are you feeling? What made you think that? That is helpful. So structured journaling and then time journaling are really big for me.
I love that, because I think it's so easy, especially right now when we're stuck at home and a lot of people are looking to social media, looking to podcasts or whatever, Netflix, to, pass the time or be inspired or guide them. It's so easy to be a consumer, to approach that from a consumer mindset. You don't even mean to. You're just like, you're turning it on, you're getting entertained. And that's not bad. But if you want to do something about it, if you want to apply what you're learning, like even from our conversation, to your life, sitting down to write down, okay, what does this mean for me? Okay, Rachel said this. How does that apply to my business? Or, Christy said this, and so on. And it's just interesting how you internalize it more. And I feel like the thoughts even become more concrete when you write them down. I think it was David Allen. Are you familiar with his book, Getting Things Done? It's like old book. I interviewed him actually for the EntreLeadership podcast. I used to do those interviews back in the day. And he said, your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. And I thought, I love that, because when you write it down, it like takes the pressure off of trying to just remember and process. And it's like you're processing it on paper, and then it's saved. And I love that, because you really do get to apply it to your life more. Rachel, one of the things that I keep asking everyone through this is I keep relating this to a storm. And I'm like, this is a storm and it's crazy. And we don't know how bad it's going to get or how long it's going to last. But in a storm, you want something to kind of anchor to. And so I'd love to know for you, like real life, in your home, in your business, what are those things? Like, you are a personal development expert. You help people with this all day, and you still didn't plan for this. Nobody did.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So what is like one major thing that you're like, this is something I can anchor to when everything feels like it's kind of slipping through my fingers?
So the biggest anchor for me is moving my body every single day. I would say sort of like the wide spectrum is clinging to the great habits and rituals that you had in your life before all of this happened. And for me, 30 minutes of moving every single day. And that looks like different things at different times. Strength training or run or jumping on the trampoline with my kids. But at least 30 minutes of movement. I always say to my community, do whatever you can, wherever you're at, with whatever you got, right? But there is something so powerful for me about challenging myself to move my body early in the morning. Really sets the tone for the rest of the day. It also lowers cortisol levels, lowers stress. We're looking for all of those ways that we can decrease anxiety and stress in our life right now. Because I'm going to be real, I have to fight really hard in this season not to reach for bad coping mechanisms from my past, right?
Yeah.
So
I would say that's probably true for everybody.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to have a drink. Like all last week, I literally was like, I want to have 10 drinks. I'm not perfect, you guys. That is the real God's honest truth. And it took so much to like, okay, if you start doing this now, when does it end? Rach, like if you start using drinking as a coping mechanism now, and this doesn't go away anytime soon, what does that look like for your life and your ability to parent these babies and lead this team? And so I am doubling, tripling down on great coping habits instead of reaching for negative ones. Truly, I'm real talk. Right before we got on the phone, I had sent, we've self-quarantined for like 2 weeks. So we've been going to the grocery store every 3 days or whatever to stock up. And today was the day to go to the grocery store. And Austin, where I live, went to official quarantine. Now we live out in the country, so we're not in Austin proper. But what I didn't realize was that meant that everybody who was in Austin came to our grocery store because they were because it's crazy, right? Yeah. So they're like, oh, I'm going to go out in the country and shop. Yeah. So my husband went to go to the grocery store and he sent me a text. He's like, Rachel, there's 200 people in line. And I wanted to cry because I'm like, we don't have milk. We don't have like, okay, look, my kids are going to be fine. We are so blessed, but like, I have a toddler and we don't have milk. And I know that's not the end of the world, but it really freaked me out. Yeah. And I swear to you, Christy, I literally went outside and ran around my yard 10 times and then came back in here and did this with you because I was like, you got it right now, Rachel. Go do something. Because this is what it is. You're going to be fine. We got plenty of frozen pizza. You're going to be okay. But I'm having to cope in real time, sometimes the whole day. And then sometimes in the minute, I'm like, go do some push-ups, sis. So that's my anchor. Yeah.
I love it. It's funny. I love to run as well. We've texted about this, but like, I run, especially when I'm angry. Like if I need an outlet, like I will pound the pavement. Like, and I come back, I'm like, well, I just feel like a new person. Thank you. I'm not mad.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I have to get it out. Okay. So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
You said the coping in good ways, like running and, that kind of thing. So having a drink, let's go back to that example. Because I think a lot of people feel the same way. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind when you're asking yourself, I want to have a drink and it's okay to have a drink. Yeah. And I want to have a drink and it's not okay to have a drink. Like, how are you checking your heart there? Because, man, I think we all are feeling that, right?
Yeah. So I made a promise to myself years ago that I would never have a drink again if I felt like I need a drink.
Okay.
That's my test is you don't ever need alcohol. So for me, having a cocktail or having a beer or a glass of wine with my friends or whatever should be a celebration. It should not be a coping mechanism. And so I'm hyper aware of when it is coping for me because it just is a slippery slope and it's something that I've struggled with in the past. So I'll tell you truthfully right now, I'm just not even having any alcohol because it's too easy for me to have that be a bad thing. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, and I've had to do this many times in my life where I'm like, all right, we're not going to have it for a month. Just to remind ourselves that this is not something we need. I'm in control of this choice. And then we'll go have a beer on the back patio or something, but it's not this idea of need. Yeah. So it's celebratory, but not ever to cope. And maybe it's different for everybody, but that's mine.
I think that's helpful. No, I think that's really helpful because a lot of people are like, I want to drink. Is it an okay drink or is it like me leaning on something I shouldn't have?
Yes.
Okay. When we first started talking, we were talking about how like the days are crazy right now. Like all of the structure, schedule, everything that we like anchored to, like in terms of like practical schedule is gone. So every day I'm like, I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. Yep. Today I washed my hair. I probably won't wash it for another 6 days. But
that's exactly right.
So I'm curious when you wake up and there are some days where you're like, I'm going to hustle today. Like I'm going to make the most of my time. I've got this free time. I'm going to get to all these things I never got to before. And then there's other days where you're like, I'm going to stay in pajamas. I'm not feeling it. I just want to give myself grace. I want to enjoy rest. I posted about this today on Instagram. Like, it's okay if you want to put on makeup one day and it's okay if you don't. Yeah. How are you, other than your start to day journal, how are you starting your day in terms of like thinking through all your options? Is it going to be a hustle day or I'm going to be present day? You know what I mean? Because all the days kind of run together.
Yeah. So for me, I am keeping with the schedule or the intention that I had before all this started, which is Monday through Friday, I am working, and I have a team of people. Like, I don't have an option right now. Like a lot of entrepreneurs who are watching this, I don't have a choice. Yeah. So I am going to be really intentional with working, getting my work done, leading my team well Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm a bump on a log. Like, I'm playing with my kids. I'm not changing out of pajamas. I'm definitely not showering. I'm only doing things that feel really good and allow me to be present. And because I'm working from home, I have so much more FaceTime, so much more opportunity with my kids than I did before. So I'm getting to see them at lunchtime. I'm taking off earlier. We're playing and doing things that we normally wouldn't. Yeah. But I personally, and this is going to be different for every single person, I personally need to be present right now, working Monday through Friday. And I will say too, this is not a shameless plug, but I interviewed Amy Porterfield. And she's the best. And she has led a team virtually for years. Yeah. And so I had her on the podcast and I was like, dude, tell me two things. One, how do you lead well? What tools do you use? And two, what do you use when you work from home to make sure that you're staying productive? And she had really good ideas, stuff I wouldn't even think about. So it's on the podcast. If you guys want to check it out, there's a bunch of ideas in that too.
I love it because even that example, like you immediately thought of a friend that has done this for a while. You're like, let me go talk to her. It's funny. A lot of my friends, they work in an office traditionally and they're coming home. And at first I think they were feeling like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. Pajamas all day. And like after 3 minutes, they're like, I can't get anything done. Well, a lot of my women in the business boutique community, they've been working home for years. You know what I mean? So they've been running home-based businesses. Yeah. And so they're like, oh no, it's not as glamorous as you think. Like you got to like really manage your time and spatial boundaries and have help for your kids. You can't have your kids homeschooling 24/7 and you're running your business. So totally. I love that you reached out because there's probably people that are doing or have done what you're trying to do that can help kind of pave the way for that. Well, Rachel, this has been so helpful. I love just hearing from you. I love getting to hang out with you and appreciate you saying yes to my random text. Like, hey,
yes, always
do this thing with me. And for those of you watching that want to get the journal questions afterwards, it's businessboutique.com/hope. And what I'm going to do is when Rachel and I sign off here in a minute, I'm going to sit down and craft a summary of what we talked about, all the high points of what Rachel does, and then journal questions to help you think through how this applies to your life. Don't just sit here and listen to our conversation and think, oh, that was cool, that was entertaining. Like Rachel and I know her. Our heart is to help you. Like we want to help you feel like you have something to anchor to in this season and make the most of it, regardless of how long it lasts. So Rachel, thanks for hanging out. If it's cool with you, I would love to just pray real quick for you and for our people watching before we wrap up. All right.
Yes.
God, we come to you, just like Rachel said, with gratitude. We want to start by just thanking you for every simple thing, for the breath in our lungs, for the roof over our head, for our health, for the fact that we even get to have technology to connect when we're states away with thousands of people, to bring hope and to remember that you have got us, even when it's scary, even when it's hard, even when it's bad. We know that you are good. And God, I just pray that you would surround everyone watching and listening right now with a supernatural peace, that they would feel your presence, that they would feel comforted, that you would lessen their anxiety, that their breaths would be deeper, that they would feel at ease despite how scary their surroundings may be. God, I pray that you would provide for them in a way that they can't even imagine, that is better than whatever they're working on right now. God, I thank you for my friend Rachel. I thank you for how you shine it through her and just give such practical advice that people can apply to their life right now today. I'm so thankful for all you've given us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Rachel, thank you so much. I love you, friend.
I love you too.
I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for hanging out for this crazy made up thing.
Of course.
I know people appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. I love you guys. Again, if you want to get the journal questions after this, we'll just email them out. There's no ask. There's no sale. I'm just trying to help you apply this to your life. And that is businessboutique.com/hope. We'll send you a summary and a replay link. You can send it to your friends and send you some questions and put it into practice in your own life. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a great day. Bye, guys. All right, y'all, that's it for this special episode of Hope in the Chaos. Tune in on Wednesday, where I'm going to share with you an awesome conversation that I had with my good friend, Jennifer Allwood.
Mercy Me is coming to Pittsburgh. the Together Again Tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Rip, Thursday, October 5th. Bring your family and friends to the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Rip live in concert. 3 multiple award-winning artists on one stage for one night. Let your spirit soar, your heart sing, and your faith ignite. Mark your calendars for Thursday, October 5th. Get your tickets now at mercyme.org.